Aparajita.
Hi, hello everyone. Apologies, the invite, the RSVP did not have the link, and so apologies for that. And thank you, Akash, for responding so quickly.
No worries, all good. I think we'll just give a minute or something probably, and
Sure.
then we can get started because I know it's a blocked, like we just have 1 hour slot and it's a working day probably, or it's late for people joining from other part of the world as well. So we'll just give it a minute and then we can get started.
Sure. And yeah, because we have just 1 hour to cover like
A
the
lot to
important.
cover. And I
Yeah.
would like to give the last 10 minutes for any Q&As which the team would want to ask you. So if we can wind up, let's say by 11:50 Eastern, we can give the last 10 minutes for any questions.
So, Akash, I would need a favor. Like, I would request
Mhm.
you to keep a time check because I
Sure,
might
I'll,
lose
I'll help you with it.
time. Yeah. So,
Sounds good. Yeah.
let me
Okay. I
quickly share
think
my
people are
screen.
trickling in. Do you have sharing access? Okay, perfect. You have it.
Yeah.
I think we can get started in the interest of time. So, just quickly, hello everyone. Thanks for joining the Toronto Mulesoft meetup today. I think this is the first meetup of 2026. We haven't had a meetup in quite a while. So, really appreciate you all taking time out to be here as a part of this. As a quick introduction, a very brief introduction, I'm Akash, one of the Toronto Mulesoft leaders, along with my co-leaders Anurag and Nagendra as well. I'm not sure if Hari joined as well, but we have another leader, Hari. And we have our presenter for today, Aparajita from Salesforce. So thank you so much, Aparajita, for taking time out. And thanks to everyone for taking time out, especially for people joining in from odd hours, right, for today. So today's session is focused around MuleSoft Vibes and Agent Fabric and how things are evolving in the MuleSoft space with respect to AI and agentic. So without further ado, I'm going to hand this over to Aparajita, who's a speaker, and she's going to take it up from here.
Thank you, Akash. And as you all know, the topic, like we will be discussing two hot selling topics, Agent Fabric and MuleSoft Vibe. So without further ado, let's get started. First and foremost, forward looking statement. So make your purchasing decisions on products which are globally available and not on the roadmap items. So that being said, Akash, you already introduced yourself. A brief introduction about myself. Hello, everyone. I'm Aprajita Tiwari. Feel free to call me Appa, based out of Ontario, Canada. I've been with Salesforce for about 5 years, and I help, or I would say, my passion is in converting what if to here's how, right? So I help customers to convert their questions to solutions, right? Like helping them optimize their tech stack. And very, very excited to meet you all virtually, and maybe hope to see you all like in person next time when we do it. And let's get started. So before we dive into those topics like Agent Fabric and MuleSoft Vibes, let me take a minute to do a MuleSoft overview because I assume there would be few folks who are new to MuleSoft. So just I'll take a couple of minutes to do the overview. Like, and in terms the overview in terms of AI, right? Like how your existing MuleSoft or like product can help you accelerate on the agentic journey. So like 95% of the organizations, they feel that the biggest hurdle in their agentic journey is integration, because because the data is siloed and disconnected. And also, as per one of the reports, 93% of the IT leaders, they think that to launch their autonomous agents, they'll take a minimum of 2 years, because they are not aware of how much work it is needed to like launch autonomous agents. And like we have heard this multiple number of times, they say that we need to crawl before we could run. But let's discuss how MuleSoft can help you accelerate those projects. So as like MuleSoft, right? MuleSoft is your unified platform for all your APIs and integration needs, right? And now the new narrative is MuleSoft is your unified platform for your agent actions, right? The same platform helps you to build agent ready foundation with connected systems, models, and apps. It lets you automate complex processes and invoke agent actions across systems. And it also lets you manage, right? Manage, govern, and secure your data and APIs that are powering your AI projects. Now, for any AI project to scale, data and access to the internal system is the key point, right? You need to expose the data. You need to let your agent talk to those systems so that it can take actions on your behalf, right? So the first and the foremost, you need to build those integration, like that foundation on top of which your agents can sit and leverage the data and the systems and perform and create like better experiences for your customers and teams. Now, this is how MuleSoft sits in between. So, what it does is first, it will unlock all the data from the underlying system, right? Once it have access to the data, based on the business requirement, it will transform or massage the data as it is needed by different experiences, like the agent force agent, or the homegrown agents, or customer mobile web applications. Based on that, here the entire heavy lifting is being done by MuleSoft sitting in the center. This is like taking a closer look at the entire product suite, like what is available. You can accomplish your entire software development lifecycle through MuleSoft, through this unified platform, right? Right from creating or right from like integrating and automating your projects. You have like different IDs like Anypoint Code Builder, Anypoint Studio. For low code tool, you have for low code implementations, you have tools like RPA, IDP, Flow, etc. For B2B EDI needs, you have Partner Manager. For industry specific projects, you have the accelerator, industry specific accelerator. You can jumpstart your projects with solution. You don't have to start from scratch. For connectivity with Salesforce, you have MuleSoft Direct and Data Loader .io. For managing, securing your APIs, you have API governance, API manager, API gateways, API experience hub. So this is the entire product suite that is available to help you accelerate on your agentic journey. And then, like, how do you build a future proof foundation with MuleSoft? This is like you must be familiar with the three layered approach that the API led approach that we say, right? Like where we have a system layer. The system layer will have microservices which will unlock the data from the underlying backend systems. Now, on top of that will be the process layer. The primary job of the process layer is to take the data that the system layer has unlocked and apply logics and like conditional routing and logic and transformation. And once that has been done, then the data is made available to your experience layer. The experience layer are like the microservices here are purpose built microservices. Like, for example, if your mobile app needs only 5 fields from the operations API, you build a microservices just to expose those 5 fields for to your mobile application, right? So it is like purpose built microservices based on the experience you want. You build the experience layer according to that. And now in this agentic era, a fourth layer has been added, which is like your digital workforce. Now agents will take actions once you unlock the data, and once you grant, like the agents have access to take actions on this data, they can act as a fourth layer. They can take actions on your behalf. Next thing is, we always say that create a zero trust architecture. What it means is like apply authentication and authorization at every layer. And how will you achieve this governance and security in your agent network that you develop? That is through universal API management. You apply policies. So in universal API management, you have out of the box policies that you can configure and apply straight away to your interactions. And we also have policy development kits where, like, for example, you have a certain requirement and out of the box policy is not available for that. You can take advantage of this policy development kit and develop a policy based on your requirement. And this is how, like, with these products like with these features, how you can accelerate your AI projects. Maybe the first project, like project one, will take the same amount of time or maybe higher because you are building the foundation. You are starting everything from scratch. You're not reusing anything. But from project two, you will see an accelerated development because the first thing that you will do is you will use all the assets that is available, right? You will reuse them, like based on your business use case, whatever assets can be reused, you will reuse that and build only what is remaining, right? If certain components are not there that needs to be built, you will build only that. And that's how you will see um, approximately 30% reduction in integration cost by with the help of any point platform. And before we get into Agent Fabric, right, MCP and A2A are two protocols provided by Anthropic. And MuleSoft last year, I think last year or last to last year, launched MCP support and A2A support, right? So now making and so MCP, let's first talk about MCP and A2A. So what is MCP protocol? It lets an agent talk to your backend APIs, right? Like that's how your agent will interact to your existing integrations. And A2A is meant for agent to agent interaction. So now MuleSoft supports these two protocols. So for example, if you want your agent to talk to an existing API, you will take advantage of the MCP connector and then implement that. In the Salesforce world, we say that you MCP-fy an existing API, right? Make that existing API MCP compatible. And just last week we launched one more product, which is MCP bridge. So now to make your backend APIs MCP compatible, we have two options. One is MCP connector, that you will develop the flow in either using Anypoint Studio or Anypoint Code Builder. And the other one is MCP bridge. That is like a policy that you will configure in API manager. So based on your use case, you can decide which one fits better as per your use case, MCP connector or MCP bridge. And similarly, we have this A2A connected as well if you want an agent to agent interaction. So for that you will con- develop a flow using A2A connector so that your one agent can talk interact with another agent. That being said, now we are going to this topic, but before we move to Agent Fabric, any questions so far?
I just have one question, Aprajita, and this is regarding the latest release that MuleSoft has done. Like, what is the use case that you see where, I go for creating MCP based APIs instead of using MCP bridge? Uh,
So
b-
So, yeah, and that's an amazing questions, and let's discuss about the use cases. So, MCP connector, it's basically like building your flow, right? Like using
mm,
any point studio or code builder and building your flow. So, for
right.
example, where you need a lot of customization. For example, you have the backend API, but you
Mm-hmm.
develop your MCP server flow and you need few customizations there, right? You need to
Mm-hmm.
do some transformation before your request reaches to the backend API. That's where
Mm.
you will use MCP connector. But
Okay.
if it is like a straightforward call, right? Like you just
Mm.
need to use it as is, you don't want to do any customization, you can use MCP bridge. And again,
Eh,
there's a
mhm.
difference where it lies, right? MCP connector is MuleSoft runtime based. It will be like it survives, like it lives in runtime, and
Yeah.
MCP bridge is API manager, like it
Yeah.
lives there. So like based on capacity also, right, there can be a capacity
Mm.
delay as well, right? Because if you want to apply policy on your MCP connector server, right, if it is using MCP connector, so first you deploy it to Mule runtime and then
You
you
need.
create an MCP server instance and then apply
Yeah.
policy on it. Here in
Yep. Yep.
MCP bridge you don't need to deploy because it lives in MCP sorry API manager, right? You can
Mm. Mm-hmm.
create, configure few settings, create it
Mm.
in API manager and just apply policies to it. So It depends, right? Like capacity play, use case play, right? Where you have heavy customization, MCP connector. No customization, simple flow, straight away reach out to backend API, MCP bridge. So it will
And
differ from use case to use case.
and also, if I understood it correctly, Aparajita, we don't need a Flex gateway to enable our API if we are using MCP bridge, right? In that
No,
scenario, Flex gateway is not needed. Okay.
you need a flex gateway.
I need, okay.
You need a
Cool.
flex gateway. Yeah. For
Okay.
MCP, it is API manager based, so you need flex gateway. For
Okay.
MCP
Cool.
bridge. For
Okay.
MCP
Thank.
connector, on the other hand, you can have the server for customers who don't have Flex gateway, right? They
Mm-hmm.
can go with
Mm-hmm.
MCP connector because MCP connector does not need Flex gateway. Flex gateway comes into picture only when we want to govern and secure that MCP server, right? So your
Okay.
MCP server is deployed to Mule runtime. So there you don't need Flex gateway. But now I say my Mule runtime is running sorry, my MCP server is running in Mule runtime, and now I need to
Mm-hmm.
secure that. That's when Flex Gateway will come into picture, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
think you said the right thing, but it's not MCP bridge; it's MCP connector. That's where you don't need Flex Gateway. It depends,
Mm-hmm.
right? How you
Okay.
want to govern and secure it. But for MCP bridge, you need Flex Gateway.
Flex gateway. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Thank you. Thanks.
Do we have more questions?
I think we have two in the chat. First one is MCP compatible. Do we need to do anything in the already APIs? I think you have already answered
Yeah,
that.
you don't need to. It's like a low lift
Yeah.
configuration. You don't need to do. You just there are just few configurations that you need to do, like select the exchange asset, like how you
Hmm.
create like any point API manager instance.
Any
It is
assets, basically.
yeah, yeah. So you
Yeah.
just need to select the exchange asset, then configure few stuffs, give the name to your MCP server and those stuffs, and save and deploy. So it's like a low lift configuration.
Yeah. Cool. The another question is, I think, uh, so like from the requirement perspective, we can use both MCP bridge and MCP connector, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Again, based on use case, right? Like obviously you won't use both for a
Both.
single use
Yeah.
case, right? You will
Yep.
use
Yep. Yep.
either,
That's true.
right? And based on
Yeah.
the use case, you will analyze like your what is the use case need? Is it heavy, complex, low? Based on that, you will decide which one fits better.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. These are the two questions, of course. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you. No worries. Let's move to the next piece, MuleSoft Agent Fabric. So So MuleSoft Agent Fabric, the hot selling product, right? Like the talk of the town, I would say. So it lets you govern, orchestrate, and observe each agent interaction. And how it lets you do that, we have four pillars, right? To discover your agent assets, we have agent registry. What it does, it will catalog, surface, and reuse agents and tools across ecosystem, basically marketplace for your agents and MCP servers. Agent registry is that. Agent orchestration, what it does, it conducts processes across agents and systems with intelligent routing. So for example, I have the broker and I need to accomplish a workflow. I need to reach out to three agents and two MCP servers. So this agent orchestration or agent broker will have a plan mapped out, that how it wants to reach out to three agents and two MCP servers, and in what hierarchy it needs to reach out, and those it will plan that, and based on that it will act on it and gather the information and then provide it back to the user, right? I will show you the YAML configuration, how you configure your agent broker or agent orchestrator. It is a YAML config that you need to do. You need to provide your instructions are basically the guardrails that how your agent broker should act and how it should reach out to different agents and MCP servers. Govern, for that you have agent policies, as the name suggests, like for every interaction, if you should secure and govern your agent interaction, and you can do it through agent policies. Agent visualizer and monitoring lets you gain visibility into agent to agent relationships and interactions. So these are the four pillars of agent fabric, MuleSoft agent fabric, and now we will see each pillar in detail. So agent registry, as I said, that a central location to catalog every enterprise agentic asset, to enable developers and agents to discover and reuse. In simple terms, marketplace for agents, so that you can see what is already there, so that you don't create duplicates. You can reuse those what is already there, and if something is not there, you can create and you can publish it there, so that next time onwards you don't have to start from scratch. The second piece is agent broker or agent orchestrator. So it is basically a context aware routing service that continuously discovers and engages the best fit agents and assets, ensuring complex processes execute seamlessly, securely, and with consistent quality. So let's go into this diagram. This is your agent broker or agent orchestration, the second pillar, agent orchestration. So agent broker will sit between two flex gateways. So once you have the incoming request, right? First flex gateway will analyze the incoming request, see what all policies are applied on the agent broker, and then make a call whether it needs to pass the request to agent broker or not. And suppose like you have the permission to access agent broker, so the request is passed to the agent broker. Once the request is passed to the agent broker will see with the help of LLM and everything, it will uh, analyze your incoming request, prepare a plan for it, right? Um, in in layman terms, we say like a recipe card, right? For example, if I want to make a certain recipe, I have a if I want to make a certain dish, I have a recipe for that, right? First, um, switch on the gas, then put the utensil, put water, something like that, right? So similarly, for whatever request has come, it will analyze the request and prepare a plan. Okay, first what it needs to do, after that what needs to be done, what information needs to be retained, what information needs to be passed back to the user, something like that, a proper plan. And once it has the plan, and in that plan, say it needs to reach out to prior auth agent and these MCP servers. So the request will go through this egress gateway. The egress gateway will again analyze the policies that has been applied on the agent and the MCP servers. Based on that, it will decide whether to pass the request to backend services or not. And once the in request is passed to the backend services, it will post the question, like whatever, for example, get patient details, something like that. It will fetch the details, store it here, then do the next step, and once everything has been completed, it will pass the information back to the user that these are the steps I did, and this is what has been created, and these are the actions that we have taken. So a very important piece, and maybe I can show you the YAML file. So this is how agent broker looks like, right? So you have this name, description, everything, and all the other tags that is important. One important feature is this instructions, because these are the you can say guardrails for the agent broker, that what you need to do. For example, here I've specified that you are a prior authorization filling agent. Route user questions to the appropriate specialized agent. Then for patient information, use patient agent. For practitioner, use provider agent. For healthcare information, use healthcare agent. Fill the form, then relay the prompts from the user, and then whatever information you get back, you pass it back to the user. So these are simple natural language instructions that has been written here. Then you give references to all the agents and all the MCP servers that it needs to reach out while trying to accomplish your request. The third piece is govern, as the name suggests, like have a zero trust architecture, apply, monitor, like govern and secure your every agent interactions, and that you can do through agent policies. The fourth one is agent visualizer and monitoring, like you need visibility in what's happening, what the agent broker is doing, what all activities it completed, right? So you need those visibility. For that, you will use agent visualizer. Before I go into the demo, any questions?
Yeah, Aprajita, there was a question from Vivek, so I'm just going to read this out. For the agent registry, is there a defined discovery or onboarding process for how agents are registered into the agent fabric?
They, it depends, right? For like when you go add, like when you want to catalog your agent, like for example, if you want to catalog an MCP server, you need to provide that MCP JSON file. You load that file and it catalogs your MCP server. Secondly, for agent registry, you need to provide that A2A card. And one more thing that we have is agent scanners, right? For your example, your agent is residing somewhere else, right? And you need to catalog those agents. So you don't have to manually upload the JSON file or A2A card for that. You can just connect to, in this case, let's take AWS Bedrock. You have 5 agents sitting over there, right? You can just connect to AWS Bedrock and do a scanning run. And once you scan, it will automatically catalog all the agents that are there. Obviously, you need to have permission to catalog those agents, right? For example, if I'm admin and I can access all the 5 agents, and if the user is if the agent is acting on my behalf, it will catalog all those 5 agents in agent registry. So there are different ways that you can do it. Does that answer your question, Vivek?
Okay, I think that should be good. Or we'll move on to the next question in the interest of time. This is from Yugandhar. Agent fabric, MCP, agent to agent vibes. What's the good material? What's the training materials would you recommend to go deep into these topics?
First is like documents.mulesoft.com. Refer that.
The
I
website.
believe, yeah. And I believe through like authentic sources, there are a lot of YouTube tutorials and videos out there. And I'm not sure, I can check on that. Maybe there's some certification that you can also, the best, like if you want to train yourself, um, do scan Trailhead. You will have like lot of like training mechanism where like you can um, where you have like probably certain tasks that you need to do, so that you can see how ready and how confident you are about these topics. So go with the Trailhead thing. You will have modules there, and I'll also check if we have any certifications and anything. I'm not sure on that, but I can surely check on that.
I don't think so.
But
The
my two
certification has been
authentic
updated
sources
yet.
would be documents that .mulesoft.com and Trailhead.
Awesome. Thanks, Aprajita. One more question we have from Bob Carr. So I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly. Technically, can we consider an agent broker like a big prompt between two gateway capable of calling MCP or agent to agent depending on the input query?
I wouldn't say a prompt, because prompt is just like a natural language prompt, right? I would You can say it like a configuration which has prompts, which has the destinations, like which all destinations it can reach out to, and basically a config. You can say it. You can take it as a config. Agent broker is a config that you need to do, and it's like a YAML config that you need to do.
Okay. Okay.
Basically like a spec, right? API specification that you create, right? So similar in that manner, but with additional tags and those stuffs, like it's
Got
like
it.
a specification.
Understood. Okay. So I think that covers everything. Everyone's happy and satisfied with your responses, Aprajita. Let's go over to the demo because we are almost halfway through and we need to cover vibes as well after this.
No, okay, sure. So for this demo, what we will do is we will take a healthcare scenario. So for example, I want to order a glucose monitor, and I go to nearest pharmacy or my healthcare clinic to order this glucose monitor. So the user there, what all activities the admin there that needs to do, so that I can be so that I can be authorized, and then a glucose monitor can be ordered for me. So if you take like a normal example, the first step that any admin will do, it will try to fetch out my information, right? The patient information, right? And it will reach out to backend systems like Epic or Cerner to get the patient details. Once they have the patient details, they will try to uh, get the doctor's details, right? Which is your family doctor, and where does he live, and uh, all those details. So the second step should be getting the practitioner detail. Then third step would be taking a glucose monitor order form, and fourth step would be filling all the details, maybe scanning it and then sending it to the different EHR systems for approval, to see whether I have the coverage, and if I don't have the coverage, how much out of the pocket expenses should I incur, something like that, right? So this is our use case. Let's Mm. So this is the UI. This is like a normal UI, and here you can see it explains what it is doing, what this application prior auth filling assistant does. So once you give the prompt, it reaches out to MuleSoft Agent Fabric, and you can see here the agent broker is sitting between two Flex Gateway, ingress and egress, and then it is also connected to two different LLM models. For complex request, it will reach out to OpenAI, and for simple request, it will reach out to Meta, right? And after that, once the incoming request, it receives the incoming request, it has analyzed the request. Based on that, it will make calls to different backend systems. So let's do the first prompt to get the patient data. And you can see the animation over here, how it is reaching out to different systems and trying to give the data for you. So it is still loading the data. So now it fetched the patient data. It reached out to Epic system and it got the patient details. The next step is to get the doctor's details, the practitioner's details. So again, you can see the animation over here, which tells you about the flow, right? How the data is getting extracted. So it has extracted the doctor's or the practitioner's details as well. The next step is to load the form, the glucose monitor form, right? Again, and here you can also see the stats, right? What all steps it is doing, calling the questionnaire API, questionnaire data received, invoking LLM for data formatting. So all those steps, right? What it is doing for to adhere to the request made by the user. So now it has started loading the form, the glucose monitor order form, that these are the details that are needed to file a to fill, like to submit the application. So now I have the patient's data, I have the practitioner's data, I have the form. Now I need to fill the form. Who will fill the form? I'll let the AI do it, or let the agent fabric do it. So now you can see this is a complex prompt, and that's why it will reach out to different sources multiple times to fill the entire questionnaire for you. So now you can see it has filled the patient data, the provider data, the coverage information, and what do I need. This is the glucose monitor option that is in my insurance plan, right? That's what I'm covered for. So it has fetched that data as well, that this monitor can be ordered for me. And now it has fetched the entire data, it has filled the form. The next thing the admin that needs to do is send the data to provider or payer, and send the provider. And this is like a MuleSoft service behind the scenes So when you do send to pair, it will run a Mule API and send the data to a particular system, like whichever system you want this information to go, so that your glucose monitor can be ordered. Now, if I want to see what happened behind the scenes, so let's you will get the visibility something like this, what happened as part of this and how much time each process took. So for example, to get the doctor's detail, let me copy this trace ID. And if I want to check the logs on that, I can simply paste the correlation ID, and I maybe I need to change the filters. Yeah. So you can get the logs, right? Based on that trace ID, what are the logs, something like that. And this is how you get the visibility into what is happening behind the scenes, like the your agent, like the broker agent, which all systems it is reaching out to, which all agents it is calling, which all MCP servers it is calling. That's how you can get the visibility. Any questions here?
We haven't had any question as of now on this one. And just a time check. Okay, there is one from Yoginder again. So in the glucose monitor order, what if we have a mule and non-mule APIs? Will the agent be able to handle even non-mule APIs?
Yes, yes. You need to catalog that non-mule API if and then and like manage it through API manager like Flex Gateway, and then it will be able to access non-mule APIs as well.
Awesome. I hope that answers your question, Yoginder. So I think, Aparajita, if you're done with the agent fabric, we should move on to the MuleSoft vibes, given we have 20 minutes, and we can leave the last 10 minutes for any Q&As and just open the forum.
Sure, sure. So coming to the next topic, MuleSoft vibes. So for MuleSoft vibes, let's first talk about Anypoint Code Builder. As you know, Anypoint Code Builder is your next generation IDE for your for designing, implementing, deploying your APIs and integrations. And MuleSoft Vibe is built in Anypoint Code Builder. MuleSoft Vibe is nothing but your dev agent, right? It is like a second pair of eyes, right? And, or maybe you are the second pair of eyes. Like once it does the job, you review what job it has done and based on that approve or reject, right? So it's like developing any solution with an assistant, something like that in simple terms. So let's go to, let me quickly log in. Just give me a second. Yeah. So, Anypoint Code Builder is part of your Anypoint platform. So let's go to Anypoint Code Builder. Like I said, it is next generation IDE built on VS Code, and there are two versions of it. One is the cloud version and the other one is the desktop version. Both the versions are same. You can use either the cloud version or the desktop version. So let me launch the IDE. It will take few seconds. So, have you guys tried any point code builder?
I have.
I have.
And have you tried like Vibes?
Yep.
Oh,
Yes.
nice.
I'm using it daily, basically.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, it makes uh, same goes with me. Even I use it on a daily basis. So it is making our jobs easier, right? So why not?
Yes. I mean, adding M unit was like life saving for me. I don't mind. I
Yes,
mean,
right. Like, and it's like you can achieve each piece of the software development life cycle through vibes. Like what I do, like I let the vibes design it, then implement it, then do munit test cases, then deploy it to cloud hub, right? So that's how I
yep.
use it. Maybe I'm using it, abusing it, but I love it.
Covers your entire SDLC basically.
Sorry.
I said it covers your entire life cycle basically.
Yeah,
Develop.
yeah, so that's
Yes.
the beauty, right? That's the beauty. So yeah, this is my Anypoint Code Builder cloud version, and let's go and maybe design and develop an integration. Say, so I specified all the details like the workshop and the workshop location, the project name, everything. I will click on create project. So what it will do, it will create a skeleton. So my skeleton has been created, the POM file and the basic mule project structure is created. So now the next thing I will go to MuleSoft Vibes. So this is MuleSoft Vibes. So the dev agent. So the next thing, before I give a prompt, I want to specify a few things. So let me show you the. So this is MuleSoft MCP server, which is like MuleSoft Vibe is connected to that by default, and it has access to all the resources, right? Like basically the platform APIs. So when we give prompt, right, um, create a design spec for me, right? So it will reach out to one of these tools to do the needful. When I say develop, like develop the solution, so it will reach out to one of these tools and do the development for me. When I say deploy to cloud hub, again it will reach out to say deploy cloud hub tool, and then it will deploy it to cloud hub. And you have few configurations defined over here. Like for example, when you give a prompt, your prompt will be divided into certain sub activities, right? So at every once the agent decides what to do as part of this activity, it will seek your approval or rejection to proceed, right? For example, if you don't want that, if you don't want to approve or reject at every step, these are the fields that you can control. You can just give all the permissions so that the agent is not waiting for your approval or rejection, and it performs the task on its own. But if you want that at every step it should seek my approval, and upon review I will provide the approval, you can choose configurations based on that, and we will see that. So now the next step is I will give a prompt, and we will see how it builds. So now I've given a prompt that use the MCP server and implement, like configure all the mule application flows and the database server. So I've given all the details, right? For example, so the SQL database details are following. I've not given the details. I've said that have placeholder for DB credentials. I've given the query, and then I have given the flow logic that okay, whenever you get a request, you based on the order ID, first you have to look into a database, and if that order is present, go ahead and create it in Salesforce. And if that order is not present in database, then don't do anything. And the Salesforce details, I've given a placeholder, and then I've asked it to map all the fields and implement a basic error handling and everything. And here you can see there are two modes: plan and act. Plan is when you want the agent force agent just to plan, like architect it, right? For example, on this prompt, let me know what you are thinking, right? Like these are the prompts that you need to um, these are the activities that you will do, so you can do that in plan mode. But in the act mode, like decide on what activities, create a action plan, and then act on it, then implement it. If you want that, like create the plan first and then implement it, you do it in act mode. So I've given the prompt, and now it's analyzing the request, right? Like based on the prompt that I've sent. So now it is analyzing that what the user wants to do. And like I said, right, it will take your prompt and it will create certain subtask, right? So here you can see it has created 11 subtasks, and currently it is trying to perform the first one of it, and it is seeking my approval. So once I approve it, so and that's how you can control these features. If you don't want to like approve or reject at every step, you can provide all access and it won't seek your approval, it will act on its own. It will take some time to do it, like couple of minutes. Meanwhile, maybe I can answer some questions if there are any.
Yeah, I think a couple of questions, Anurag, you took it on, so thanks for doing that. There's one question: Can vibes create ramble in Design Center?
Yeah, design center, I don't think so, because it is ACB based, and it you develop the specification here and you just deploy it to sorry, you publish it to Exchange. Design center, no,
Okay.
but I'll check on that. No, no, not on design center. But you can surely publish it to Exchange right from here.
Okay. There's also a question, Aprajita, where they're asking if you could share the prompt for a use case just in case on this chat. The prompt you
Sure.
used, basically.
Yeah, yeah, I can surely share.
Okay. I think that covers all the question. If I'm missing out anything, guys, please drop in your text. Okay, there's one more from Avinash. What are tokens and how many tokens are allowed to be used? Can Vibes add the monitor agent with the prompt?
Not very sure on the token side, but what happens is for a certain limit, Vibe uses one LLM model that is Claude. I forgot the version of it. So uses that, and if you exceed that number of tokens, I think it is. I'm forgetting that number. I'll surely let Akash know what that token credit is. If you exceed that credit, it switches to GPT mini version, and like it is like based on like number of tokens. It is like, for example, if you exceed that one, it will shift to different LLM model. So that's how it acts, right? And I'll share the numbers with Akash. Currently, I'm not able to recall those numbers.
Okay. Thanks. Yeah, that's fine. So Avinash
So
will get back to you on that number.
yeah, I can share the numbers. Yeah. So as you can see, it has developed the flow, and you can see, right? Like this is the error handling that is created. Like I said, that in my prompt, it was like create a basic error handling. And then it is checking the database. And if I go in the settings, it has all the details, like all the configurations has been done, but the properties it has kept placeholder because that's what I asked it to do, just have placeholders. And then once it checks the data, queries the database, it checks whether that database is that order is available in the database or not. And if the order is available in the database, it will go ahead, create the order in Salesforce. If it is not available, then it will just log order not found and do nothing, right? So that's exactly what I asked it to do. And upon completion, it will give you the task completed status, that what was asked, what are the connector details that it used, what all the activities that it did, maybe implementation details. It will give you all the details, and I'll share the prompt with Akash, and maybe I can share in the chat. Do I
Yeah,
have
you can just
access?
drop it on the chat here. People
Yeah,
can take a copy of it.
yeah.
There's also a question, Aprajita. When the LLM shifts, which you were saying, right, on the basis of token, is the functionality still the same?
The responses may differ because it's different LLM model. But what I've seen, it's more or less similar. But yeah, the responses may differ because it's switching to a different LLM model.
I hope that answers your question, Avinash. There's one more question: how to configure the naming standards and convention so that the vibe gives us a consistent output as per the defined standard.
Okay, that's a very good question. You can define a rules file, right? You can have, like, for example, the naming convention and all those details won't change day to day, right? It is like decided for an organization in a specific manner, and that remains for a longer time, right? It does not change. Like, you don't change naming convention daily, right? So you can just save the file over here, like maybe here in under resources, the, like, how, what naming standards and how it needs to create. And when you give your prompt, you can just mention that refer to this file and create or implement according to those specifications, those detailings provided in that file. Do not create anything which is not mentioned in that file, something like that. So that's how it will take consideration into that file, and then it will create everything on that basis.
Okay.
And I think, Aprajita, if I remember it correctly, there is a way to define a rule set as well in the vibes where,
Yeah.
the naming convention can be mentioned. So whenever
So
you will create it, it will automatically take the precedence there.
so the rule set is like the feature of sorry, it is the feature of where did it go? Of not vibes, but ACB in ACB, right? Like, it lets you configure the rule set so that
Hmm.
whenever Vibes create anything, it is automatically authenticated against
Hmm.
that rule set, right? For example,
Okay.
if you do not pass that rule set, your, like, your deployment, your publication might fail, right? If you want to publish, it will say that it is non-conformant to that rule set, and please
Hmm.
make sure that it is conformant to that rule set. And then, so
Okay.
um, yeah, um, Anurag, that was a very good point. You can also define the rule set, and you can also define a config file as well, like either way, whichever way you feel comfortable.
Okay, so I think we are just 3 minutes away from our time. Was there anything else, Aparajita, you wanted to share, or any questions, final thoughts, team? Please drop in your note.
I think I'm good from my end. Like, this is all I wanted to share. I tried to provide as much as info I could provide within an hour so that you all have the basics. And oh, I see a comment from Brian. Brian, how are you? I know we have worked together. So, yeah. Uh, yeah, so I've tried to provide the basics. And again, like, you have the documents.mulesoft.com, and you have trailhead modules. Please go through that. And in case you have any questions, you can reach out to me or Akash, and we will try to answer those in the best possible way.
Thank you so much, Aprajita, for taking time out. And I know for a couple of other folks who had to actually join in during the business hours, office hours as well. There's one final question before we close this call for today. That's from Yoginder Aprajita. That is
Yeah.
from existing reference mule project, can Vibes read and come up with the rule standards based on the prompt?
Sorry, I was just posting the prompt. So can you read the question again?
The question is from the existing reference Mulesoft project, can Vibes read and come up with the rules and standards based on the prompt you provided?
Yes, it can. It can. Right? You provide a jar, and you give the prompt according. So prompt is like um, based on your creativity, right? There's no hard and fast rule for the prompts, right? Like it's like explore the prompt section, try to like maximize the utilization. Like based on the prompt, you can either create a simple flow, you can create a it can create a simple flow, it can create a complex flow as well, right? It totally depends on the prompt that you give. So if you give a jar file and you say that this is my standard project, can you create a rules file for me so that going forward, all the projects that are being developed, they follow these guidelines, and it will create a rules file for you, and then you can edit it based on that, whatever it has missed out. So rules the prompting is like an ocean, just like we need to get our hands dirty and try all the prompts possible and see what all capabilities we can achieve.
Awesome. I think we are on time then. Okay, there's one last question. I know I said the last, but this is final question
No
from
worries.
Avinash. For existing APIs, can Vibes take the standardization or changes to the best practices, or does it give the API led?
uh, like if I'm understanding the question correctly, right? If you have an existing API and you want to standardize an existing API, maybe have it in the API led manner, can we change an existing API, right? So
Yes, yes.
yes, yes, we can do that. You give the existing API and you say that this is the API, it is not following the standard. If you have a rule set, let it refer to that rule set. If you have a rules file, let it refer to that rules file, and give the prompt that these are the standards that my company follows, and can you modify this existing project based on those rule sets. And it will definitely, based on your prompting, it will rebuild the API for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. Then I think we're right on time. Thanks, Aprajita, for taking time out for this. You've been a wonderful speaker, and thanks for sharing all the information.
No worries.
Thanks, Anurag, Nagendra, for helping out with this, and thanks everyone for joining today. Have a good day,
Yeah,
Yep.
guys.
and
Thanks, everyone. Thanks,
la-
Aparajita. It was a great session.
last words from me. It was a team effort. Thank you all for bringing this together. Thank you.
Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Hope
Thanks,
for
everyone.
the in future, hope for the more collaborations,
Yeah,
Aparajita.
for sure.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.